At a railway station in a busy city, there lived a beggar who survived by asking passengers for alms. One day, while begging, he noticed a tall, well-dressed man. The beggar thought, "This man looks rich. If I ask him, he will surely give me a good amount." He approached the man and started begging. The tall man looked at him and said, "You always ask from others, but have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar replied, "Sir, I am just a beggar. I always ask because I have nothing to give. How can I give anything to anyone?" The man smiled and said, "If you can't give, then you have no right to ask. I am a businessman, and I believe in give and take. If you have something to give me, only then will I give you something in return." Saying this, he boarded the train and left. The beggar sat there, lost in thought. The man's words struck a chord in his heart. He wondered, "Maybe I don't get much because I never give anything in return. But what can I possibly give to others?" For 2 days he couldn't find an answer. On the third day, as he sat near the station, he noticed some flowers blooming nearby. An idea struck him. Why don't I give flowers to people in return for their alms? Excited, he picked a few flowers. That day, as he begged on the train, he gave flowers to everyone who gave him money. People appreciated his gesture and happily kept the flowers. From then on, the beggar began plucking flowers every morning and giving them to those who gave him alms. He noticed that more people started giving him money. However, when he ran out of flowers, fewer people gave him alms. One day, while begging on the train, he saw the same tall man who had inspired him. The beggar immediately approached him and said, "Today, I have something to give you. Please give me alms, and in return, I will give you some flowers." The man smiled, gave him some money, and accepted the flowers. "Wonderful. You've become a businessman like me," he said. His words resonated with the beggar. He realized that the key to changing his life was now in his hands. He stepped off the train, looked up at the sky, and declared, "I am not a beggar anymore. I am a businessman." People around him thought he had gone mad, but he was determined. 6 months later, at the same station, 2 well-dressed men were traveling. One of them recognized the other and extended his hand for a handshake. "Do you recognize me?" he asked. "No, I don't think we've met before," the second man replied. The first man smiled and said, "We've met before, not once, but twice. Don't you remember the beggar you once spoke to?" Surprised, the second man said, "Oh yes. You're the beggar I once refused to give money to. The second time, I bought flowers from you. But today, you're dressed so well. What are you doing now?" The first man replied, "Yes, I was that beggar. But today, I am a successful flower merchant. I'm on my way to another city for business." He continued, "You taught me an important rule of life. We only receive when we give. This rule changed my life. I realized that I wasn't a beggar. I was always a businessman, but I didn't see myself that way. People didn't give me alms. They were paying for the flowers I gave them. I used that money to buy more flowers and became a merchant. Today, I run a large flower business, thanks to the rule you taught me." Both men smiled and continued their journey. Morale of the story. This story teaches us a profound lesson about self-perception and the universal law of giving and receiving. Often, we limit ourselves by believing we are incapable or unworthy of success, just like the beggar initially thought of himself as helpless. True transformation begins with a change in mindset. When we shift our focus from merely taking to also giving, whether through kindness, effort, or value, we open doors to opportunities and growth. The rule of give and take is not just a business principle, it's a life philosophy that fosters mutual benefit and prosperity. Success is deeply tied to how we view ourselves. If we see ourselves as small or insignificant, others will too. But when we believe in our potential and take steps to act on it, the world responds in kind. This beggar's journey from poverty to success reminds us, no dream is too big. No situation is too hopeless. If we dare to think differently, act boldly, and believe in ourselves, we can rise above any circumstance.